I am not a hypebeast. No matter what it looks like. The toolbox really isn't helping my case, is it? What's up everybody, I'm Seth Fowler and today I'm reviewing the COMME de GARCON Supreme Air Force One. Thanks so much for tuning in today, whether this is your first video on my channel or you've rocked with the channel for a long time, I really appreciate you being here. If you haven't yet and you want to see more videos just like this one, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Also make sure to give me a follow on Instagram and on Twitter at RealSethFowler. But with all of that out of the way, let's jump right into the shoe. I think it's fair to say that a lot of Supreme's success can be attributed to its collaborations. Throughout the years, Supreme has collaborated with many big brands and notable artists. Brands like Fender, Nike, COMME, the NBA, even North Face. They've also collaborated with designer brands like Louis Vuitton and COMME de GARCON. And this year, like many years, Supreme decided to mash up two of their collaborations with Nike and COMME de GARCON. And what Supreme, CDG, and Nike created was a collaboration on the Air Force One that utilized a lot of the defining details from Supreme and CDG's most recent collab. Even though this sneaker was part of the Supreme CDG collection that dropped a couple weeks ago, they decided to delay the release for whatever reason and drop it as part of week 12 for $165. So without further ado, let's take a closer look at the sneaker itself. Here it is, the Supreme COMME de GARCON Nike Air Force One. So starting things off on the toe of the sneaker, you've got this lightly tumbled black leather. Even though the quality of this leather isn't incredible, it's still a lot better quality than what you're probably used to on most Air Force Ones. The finish of the leather is matte, which is nice because most Air Force Ones have a very slight glossy look to them. Not only that, but the leather does feel pretty soft to the touch, so I've got to say it does have a more premium feel than most other leather sneakers. Again, it's not incredible, but it's definitely not bad. The leather paneling around the toe of the sneaker is exactly the same as every other Air Force One, no real construction differences there. As you continue up the shoe, you've got these flat black laces with this metal accent at the bottom that says AF1, and then underneath that it says Supreme. Underneath the laces, you've got this black tumbled leather tongue. At the top of the tongue, you've got this white tag that says Nike Air Force One. And then on the back side of the tongue, it says COMME de GARCON shirt and then Supreme. Moving inside the sneaker, you've got your standard Air Force One mesh sock liner, this time around in black. The insole of the sneaker also comes in black with the Nike, COMME de GARCON, and Supreme branding printed in white on the heel. As for fit, the Supreme COMME de GARCON Nike Air Force One, that's a mouthful, does seem to fit true to size. Other than a few aesthetic details that we'll get to in a bit, the overall construction of the sneaker hasn't changed, and because of that, this shoe fits just like any other Air Force Ones. So if you have a pair of Air Force One lows, you know exactly how this shoe is going to feel on foot. Of course, if you've never tried on a pair of AF1 lows before, make sure to go down to your local sneaker store and try a pair on down there before you spend the resale on this pair. Then, continuing back on the sneaker to the midfoot is where you get to the real distinguishing feature of this collaboration. And if you couldn't already tell, that's the split Nike Swoosh. If you haven't seen the most recent Supreme and CDG collaboration, basically what the whole theme of that collab is that they take the main logo of the piece, split it down the center, and then offset it. And of course, as I'm sure you could already tell, it looks like they did the same exact thing here. The most interesting thing that I found about the construction of this swoosh, at least to me, is that they didn't actually just sew on two different swooshes. They actually stitched on the two different sides of the white swoosh to two different pieces of leather and then offset those pieces of leather, which in my opinion makes this detail look a lot more premium because it kind of looks like each swoosh is sort of fading into the crease in between these two pieces of leather. And to be honest, this is like the main detail on the sneaker, so I'm glad they didn't cut corners and try and do something that would just look nice from far away, but when you get close up, it just looks like crap. I'm glad they actually took the time and tried something different. I think it looks great. I also really like the black and white color scheme that they went with. It's simple, but it really pops. I think it's a great look. Moving around to the heel, the back tab of the sneaker has the Nike Air branding embroidered into it in white. And then just below that, you've got the text COMME de GARCON shirt and Supreme printed in white on the heel. Continuing down the sneaker, you've got this bright white Air Force One midsole with the Air branding and black line accenting the heel. And then finally moving to the bottom of the sneaker, you've got your standard Air Force One outsole in black. Overall, I'm really happy with the way that Supreme, CDG, and Nike handled this collaboration. They didn't blast this sneaker with red box logos like they've done in the past, which some people might might be mad that they omitted, but I really like the fact that it's a more minimal design. I love that they kept the branding on the shoe super simple and super clean, and then made the main accent something that we haven't seen before. It's a dope shoe, and for 165 bucks, I'm really glad I was able to pick it up. Right now, 3 or 4 days after release, the shoe is going for between $300 and $400 on StockX. If you want to pay that much for this sneaker, go for it. I personally would probably only pay about $250 max, because at the end of the day, it is just an Air Force One. But I do have to give it to those 3 brands. They did a great job, and I think it's a super clean sneaker. That pretty much wraps up my thoughts on the CDG Supreme Air Force One. Now I would love to know your thoughts on this sneaker and whether you'd be willing to pick up a pair for resale if you missed out on the original release. So make sure to leave those comments in the comment section down below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe down below if you haven't yet, and I'll see you all in the next one.